This is my baby the same way it's your baby. We had a baby together. And Preg. 5 minutes in, we're speaking about Preg.
Welcome to the Soft Reset, where we talk about shiny hunting Pokemon. Well, shiny hunting Pokemon. I'm Micah.
And I'm Kiefer!
We're not going to talk about the first episode that we recorded a full hour and a half of.
Oh.
And
leakers.
we're not going to talk about this. This is episode 1.
Yeah, this is episode 1. We're not going to talk about the secret shiny that I got that'll never be seeing the light of day.
I can't see your screen.
Are you crazy? No, sir.
Maybe eventually, sometime, somebody will see it. But for now, we looked at it and we went, we can do better. Also, it's been probably about a month since we did that, and it is no longer relevant.
Yeah, we recorded it and got it. I got it done. It took me a while, but we got it done. We looked at it and we're like, that's a video.
We made a lot of changes since then. There's been some like quality changes and stuff too. But also, that was immediately after Worlds 2024 in Hawaii. And we talked a lot about Worlds in Hawaii. It is almost November now. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, par for the course for things that happened in August and so on. You know what I'm saying?
We've never done this together before. I have done some podcast stuff before. You have never done podcast stuff before. So, you know, it was like a test run.
Yeah, I think the most I've done was be
see
a
how it
guest
goes.
on some shows. But other than that, I've never been in the hot seat myself with my, you know, brown starfish exposed. You know what I'm saying?
Is it exposed right now?
It's exposed.
I'm just
Audio
kidding, I can see your
listeners,
camera.
my
It is
butthole is exposed.
So this is not a show where we're just gonna talk about butthole. Actually, it might be a show where we talk about buttholes all day. I don't. That's pretty much. I think probably 85% of your content at this point is
Low blow.
talking about buttholes. You
Crazy
just
low
recently uploaded a video that was a banger, by the way.
Thank you.
And you spent a good chunk of time talking about Numel's hole. So really, anything can go. You know,
Wait,
anything goes at this point.
You're actually kind of right, because it was Numel hole, and then I also talked about
Bidoof's butthole too. Yeah, you did. You also, before we hit record on this, you showed me a bunch of your Pom-Pom Purin merch with the butthole.
Yeah, but that's not what this show is about, Micah.
I'm not here to kink shame. So
this show is because
You're right.
we love Pokemon, and we love shiny Pokemon. That's what we're here for. We want an excuse to play more.
So on this show, we're not only going to talk about Pokemon and Pokemon related stuff, maybe some news, maybe just like what we like about Pokemon, maybe some stories, maybe our own history with Pokemon, stuff like that. But we're also going to shiny hunt because we like shiny hunting. We've been doing a lot of shiny hunting ourselves independently. This is an excuse to do that. It's a pretty background thing, right? It's like a just chatting stream when you watch a shiny hunter because they're mostly just talking, and it's the content creator itself that you're focused on. Shiny hunting is going on in the background. You know, when they get the shiny, then they get the shiny. It's exciting.
Yeah, and being there for that moment is huge, right? Yeah, I mean, at this point, right? Anybody that's here with us or watching, make sure to grab a Game Boy, maybe hit another hunt with us while we go along, and, you know, tag us and stuff if you find anything while listening. Like, keep us in the know on what you guys are hunting too. Like I said before, like we said, like the biggest reason we're even doing this is because of how much we love shiny Pokemon and Pokemon in general. And this is kind of just becoming an excuse for us to just yap about Pokemon and look for fun Pokemon at the same time, you know?
Part of this show, part of what we decided we wanted to do for this show is every episode we want to pick a specific hunt that we're going to do throughout the show, and you'll be able to watch along if you're watching the video portion of it. If you know you're listening to the audio, maybe we'll announce when we hit certain milestones, things like that. But the goal is to just shiny hunt throughout the episode as we do it, and if we get a shiny, cool. If we don't, then you know we'll just keep going until either one of us gets the shiny on an episode in the future, or if we decide to switch hunts in the future, then we'll do that. Maybe we'll do themed hunts for specific things that we're talking about, or specific things, or whatever.
Yeah, kind of think of it as just one giant shiny race too between the two of us. So Micah, if you'd like to do the honors on what hunt we're doing right now, let the people know what we're hunting.
We are doing today, we're surprisingly both in leaf green. I thought you were in fire red, but we're both in Pokemon leaf green.
I smoked the leaf, Mike.
don't smoke Venusaur. We're both in leaf green. You know, it's Kanto, so it's like the beginning of everything. It's not Gen 1 because there's no shinies in Gen 1. We're both soft resetting for Mewtwo in leaf green.
Hey, it's the name! You said the thing! Holy shit!
I'm pretty excited about it. I have done some resets for this previously because this was kind of something that I started a bit ago. I'm just starting fresh on it for this.
I mean, I remember you were hunting this bad boy when we were at NAIC.
I was back in June.
Yeah, and I took your analog, was it? You were running it on an analog pocket, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was just doing your soft resets. Yeah, the biggest mistake of that trip was not bringing any Game Boys or DSs with me because I didn't do anything, and I just wanted to shiny hunt. I just wanted to shiny hunt so bad.
That's the first one. That's the first soft reset of the soft reset.
Wait, you're right.
We did it.
Wait, that's big for us.
That is big for us.
We're big. We're big
both
now.
Big.
True. Most people who are gonna watch this are at most Pokemon fans, right? So especially in the game that we're hunting in tonight, Pokemon Leaf Green, these games and every Pokemon game going forward have special chances to have shiny Pokemon show up. The odds for that change over the years, but for Fire and Leaf Green, the ones we're in today, it is a 1 out of 8,192 chance to show shiny. So that means we have 1 out of 8192 chance to see this Mewtwo be green, which is huge. They don't offer any stat bonuses. They don't actually really offer anything at all. It is strictly just based on aesthetic. And it was introduced in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. I mean, I'm sure you all remember the red Gyarados, right? I don't really know the full history of it, but looking for shiny Pokemon is a giant subsection of the Pokemon community at this point. It wasn't always a big part.
It's true, yeah.
It has grown a lot recently. Ever since I feel like games have become a little bit more accessible, or shinies have become more accessible, I would say the community has grown like crazy.
It's hard to say when the biggest shift started, I think. I feel like maybe around Gen 7, I think things started to really make a shift. Maybe Gen 6. Maybe Gen 6 is a little bit more accurate for more broader knowledge of people. Part of that is just how the internet has evolved too, right? People sharing info more, the evolution of YouTube and people uploading their shiny hunts and their shiny reactions and stuff to YouTube. I mean, it's been long before that. I watched a video last night from, I think, Candy Eevee.
Okay.
The origins of shiny hunting, or trying to figure out what the first shiny hunt was, or the first recorded one was.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which is such a fun video, and showing this documentation of forums from before Gold and Silver came out, of people talking about it before it was even here. It had come out in Japan. So it's been around for a long time. I'm sure you remember the Shiny Ponyta video of the dude listening to, I can't remember what it was.
That ain't just any dude.
Simple Plan.
Are you talking about is it a Supreme Arcanine video with the Ponyta?
No,
I don't think it was. I don't think it was.
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm thinking of Supreme Arcanine's Giratina video, because
yes, the Giratina video is a classic.
I remember being a kid. I remember being a goddamn kid, Micah. I learned about shiny hunting through friends, or through the Fire Red Leaf Green strategy guide had a small little blurb about shiny hunting in it, or about shinies in general, and it had Oddish there. And then obviously that, when you pique your interest as a child, it becomes an obsession. It's all you want to look up, it's all you want to learn about. And that's when I came across shiny hunting YouTube, and how everybody just has cameras pointed at their DS. And I remember buying a Zune camera and just
Zune?
I want to find the footage one day. I have footage of me doing Ruby and Sapphire soft resets while watching Princess Diaries 2, The Royal Engagement, bro. I remember that shit vividly.
I see footage. I see a few uploads. I went back just to check, just to see if maybe I could figure out who it was. And I'm sure somebody in the community knows who it was. There are a couple re-uploads of it. It's old internet, it's old YouTube, so they're not crediting who it was.
Yeah. But I can literally see the video in my fucking frontal cortex right now, bro.
Yes.
There is an image of it burned into my brain.
There's actually an edit in this video, that in the description of this video, that says, I found one of the original videos, or one of the original uploads. I still don't know who the actual person in the video is, though. So I'm sure somebody knows, and I would love the history lesson on that if you do. But
that would be cool.
Yeah, they're just listening to, I don't remember what it was. It's Simple Plan or Good Charlotte or something. And they've got 3 SPs set up with the camera pointed at them, and they're just hitting them,
It's raw.
And then they hit that shiny, that Ponyta with the blue flame and it's just the most insane reaction I've ever heard in my life.
I,
The mic peaking, the screaming.
it's so
a
awesome,
masterpiece.
dude. And that, like, again, that excitement, that reaction, that's what brought me into the community. That's what made me fall in love with shiny hunting, especially like doing full odds stuff and all that jazz. You either get it or you don't, you know what I mean? And I struggled trying to share this hobby all throughout my life with people, because I've been doing this since I was a kid, and 9 out of 10 people just don't get it. And now that we have like such a giant community of shiny hunters and people who just love shiny Pokemon, it feels good.
It does feel good. My like earliest experience sharing shiny hunting and shiny Pokemon with somebody was I think around Gen 4. My friend Carlos and I were working really hard on a like shared living decks at the time together.
Ooh, cool.
And the big goal of it was, you know, get the shiny charm, do whatever. But that was the point, that it was kind of like, there's shiny Pokemon and we should also be trying to do that, or like look for those or whatever, you know, do some little hunts and stuff here and there, which, you know, we didn't do a ton of at the time, but then more around the time that like Gen 6 rolled around, I think is when it really started to kind of hit, you know. And it became more, that was the point that he and I both together found Pokemon shiny hunting on Twitch. You know, there were a lot of people at that time that were streaming.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine how hard it was to even find a capture card back then.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I mean, a lot of times it was just people pointing their camera right at their, you know, as close as they possibly could at their DS screen. And I still see that, which is awesome. There's still streams, sometimes I'll pop into a Twitch stream and somebody's got their camera just pointed at their consoles on their desk, and I love that. It's like keeping that aesthetic alive, and that's so cool to me. But from that point on, it was, you know, there were a lot of people in the community that we started to watch, him and I started to watch together, and it was, you know, like there's a guy named Justin Flynn at the time that was doing a lot of shiny hunting. You know, I think A-Drive was one of the ones that was doing it at that time, and then I started to find more and more like people in the community from that, and that's where I found one of my closest friends of all time. His name's Rozokin. He still streams, but you know, he used to do primarily like only full odds shiny hunting stuff, and you know, I found him that way through watching people on Twitch, and formed a like lifelong bond with him. And
it's crazy, through shiny hunting.
Like my best friend, you know. Wouldn't have had that if we hadn't found, you know. And I still, you know, Carlos and I are still close, and we still talk about Pokemon stuff. You know, we still have that bond, and I think a lot of that was formed because of Pokemon and was strengthened because of shiny hunting.
It's awesome. And it's so crazy because it's like, we're not doing anything special in these games, right? Like, I mean, as you guys can even see it, like, we're literally just, oh, that's a purple Mewtwo. All right, soft reset. We're holding, you know, A, B, start, select, and it just soft resets the game, you know? It's like, we're not doing nothing special. It's mostly just like a, you know, like a test of patience. Usually, if you're shiny hunting, you have something, like we talked about earlier, you always have something going on in the forefront of your, you know, you're watching a movie, watching a stream, watching, I don't know, somebody making dinner. Maybe mom and dad are making dinner in the kitchen, or maybe you're recording a podcast, you know?
Cooking up some sloppy Joe in the background.
Mom and dad's got the slop on the
you
oven.
Got the whiff of the slop coming off the stove.
Oh, mom, that's
through the air.
That slop smells great, you know? Like, let me get some slop on this plate. Mom,
smells
I need slop now.
What? Where'd you get that plate from?
What are you talking about?
You always got that thing on you? That's crazy. You stay strapped with the slot plate?
It ain't the only one.
Look at this cute little bear bowl.
Really cool, Mom!
You got more space for plate. You got more space for
I also got
Advil
than
I do.
Who needs it? Anybody need some Advil?
As far as Pokemon goes, shiny hunting, that's great. Definitely has become the focus for a lot of people's Pokemon journey at this point. I think a lot of people, once they've passed the threshold of beating the game, beating the Elite Four, hang it up and play something else until the next game comes around or something like that. This is definitely a way for other people to be able to extend that playtime. For a lot of us, I think that's a big reason that we shiny hunt too, is just to get more Pokemon out of.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think I'm a couple behind.
A couple?
I think I missed a couple reasons.
Oh, I thought you meant like a couple behind me.
Oh, what are you at? I can't see your counter.
Don't ask about what I'm at, man. Right. 41.
I'm not too far off. I thought maybe you were gonna say like 100 or something.
Oh no. I was gonna say though,
you catch up to that.
You're so right though, because like, if you look at like my Switch like library and like the games I've played on my Switch and all the time I put into them. Like my Pokemon Shield has 800 hours in it. And I'm gonna keep it a bug with you.
Yeah, that's insane.
I wanted to drop that game 50 hours in, but what kept me like putting 800 hours in was shiny hunting. Getting all the shinies, getting all the Galarian shinies, Dynamax Adventures, and that, because that's what I love about Pokemon games. I couldn't give a shit about playing Pokemon and battling. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. It's my least favorite part of the game. I like the catching, the gathering, the shiny hunting. I like that stuff way more.
Agreed. I'm a big creature collector fan, not as much of a high level battle fan. I appreciate it a ton.
Yeah, love a Wolfie video,
whatever,
you know?
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Do I want to do that? Absolutely not. And it's not because I don't think it's interesting. It's just that I would rather just collect stuff.
It's not what makes me love Pokemon.
The battling is just a means to the collection. It's the collection delivery system.
Yeah, I go into battle to look at my sparkles. You know, I want to see the animations. I want to see the colors. You know, other than that, I'm not. If the game lets me not battle, I'm not gonna battle. Like, I guarantee you, I've only fought like 2 Scarlet and Violet trainers in that whole game.
And even before I was focusing on shiny hunting stuff, because it's really been, you know, the last few years that I've put a lot of focus on the game portion, or my like gameplay portion of it. Shiny hunting at focused, you know, or like shiny focus. Even before that, and even now, like before I get to that point in the game, it's still the collection, just the collection aspect, like the living dex aspect, the filling out the Pokedex in general, like all that stuff. I just love that stuff the most. Get me through the gym so that I can go to the next area and see what new little freaks are there that I can capture. 100%. That's what I want. Show me the little freaks. That's what I'm about.
Show me the freaks. And it's
just upload those freaks into my database
with his little X butthole that he should have. You know what I mean?
Stop. See, this is
dude. I keep going back to it. A
butthole
intervention?
Yeah, we gotta have a butthole intervention.
That's insane, dude. Get a load of this guy. You know? Oh, you know what? I do want to know, because I actually don't know what you're hunting off of. But I'm hunting off an Epilogue operator tonight.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
It's a little doohickey that allows you to put your Game Boy Advance games slapped into it, and then you can connect it to your computer and, you know, stream your any Game Boy Advance game. It actually allows you to like upload backup saves and everything. It's a very cool gadget. That's what I'm hunting off of right now.
Yeah, and the Epilogue is great. I love that device. It's such a neat piece of hardware that has like never existed before. Like the existence of something that allows you to play your actual hardware on your PC has never been a thing. and it's so cool to see that.
Affordable.
It is.
I mean, okay, $50, right? You know, to some people might not be affordable, and I recognize that. Comparatively to the rest of tech that goes into a lot of shiny hunting, like capture cards for your Switch, capture cards for your DS, $50 is very cheap for how much it can do, and it's great.
Even without the streaming tech or the capture tech involved, like $50 is, I mean, $50 is a lot of money, but in order to get a device to be able to play your Game Boy games anyways, like if you wanted to, you know, say you still had your Pokemon cartridges but you didn't have your GBA anymore, or it doesn't work, or you don't have your DS anymore or something like that, you're looking at probably minimum $50 to get a device in order to play. So
if you're just looking to buy one of these,
you might as well get an Epilogue. You know?
Yeah, because if you're just buying a Game Boy Advance, like that's 50, maybe 65. This thing allows you to play it on your PC. It allows you to back up your saves, like I said before. I sound like I'm doing an ad read for him. And honestly, hey,
I know.
you know, read. Let's talk. I mean, like seriously, let me rep your brand. I love this thing. Are you running off your Analog Pocket right now?
I am running off the Pocket. So the Pocket is pricey. I actually got mine at a pretty reasonable price from a friend of mine, but it's essentially just a Game Boy, just like a handheld Game Boy, but it allows you to play the actual software, like physical software. It plays Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. This runs through you can buy a dock for it that goes to HDMI, and this is running through the dock, so I'm able to capture it on my PC that way. Can't do, you know, it's really more of like a novelty thing than it is kind of anything else. You know, you don't get a whole lot of like the features that you would get out of, say, the Epilogue, where you can, you know, back up your saves or back up your game or whatever. You know, the screen is beautiful. It's like
yeah,
a really
it's
nice
sturdy though,
piece
right?
of, yeah, it is. It's a like really
Mhm.
beautiful piece of tech, especially if you're into handhelds or like kind of, you know, retro tech.
I feel like
This is
shiny hunting and Pokemon go hand in hand a lot of the time with being into
Mhm.
retro tech, which is
Yeah,
a
I think so
cool.
too.
It's so cool, but
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's a lot of the people who are shiny hunting, especially like full odds or in older games, they are playing their older games typically on, you know, actual hardware. I
hardware,
just
yeah,
soft reset at the start screen,
that's
which
big for
is
you.
that is huge for me.
That's big.
I'm really not closing that gap. What are you at right now? Let's do a little.
I'm at 67 soft resets right now.
I'm at 41.
This will be 68th Mewtwo I've seen.
This is the 41th Mewtwo.
41.
So the fact that a lot of it is happening on old tech anyways, I think it kind of, you know, the nostalgia is definitely a factor. Coming with that is the hardware at the time too, and the consoles and stuff, and that kind of is part of the nostalgia experience that comes with vintage Pokemon and shiny hunting and full odds and stuff like that, especially in the 8192 games. All this is to say, I'm also playing on a really tiny little controller.
What the hell? I'm on
It's
GameCube.
just a really easy to like soft reset on.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty of this hunt is you're only hitting like 2 buttons, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
so
I'm really
I
just
mapped
like doing
to
this.
here. Hold on, I'm gonna show you how I do it. Ready? 3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Psych! Shiny Mewtwo. I lied. Sorry,
so
audio
quick.
listeners.
So quick.
Audio listeners, Micah is butt naked.
Huh.
It's crazy. I cannot believe
Hold
they're
on.
allowing this on
That's not
YouTube.
true. That's not true.
If I ever lie to
Also-
you, audio listeners,
Keeper's whole butthole's out. And listen,
Ah!
who are you gonna believe? Considering how much this dude has been talking about buttholes, who's actually got their butthole out. You know what I mean?
all right, okay, shut up, man. Do you remember your first shiny?
I do. So it's, you know, it's kind of stupid because it's like I'm old, right? So
I wasn't
I've
gonna
been
say
around
it.
the block.
I
and
wasn't
I've been
gonna say it,
playing
man.
since I've been
better
playing
around
since Gen 1.
Micah, I think all
Uh,
you needed to say was I've been around the block. I think that
I've been
saying
around the block.
alone ages you like crazy, bro.
Listen here, Buster.
All right, Grandpa.
Don't,
we gotta
you
we're gonna
better-
wheel Micah back to the nursing home, but he's gonna be shiny hunting. He's gonna be like, wait, did I just offer set over shiny Mewtwo? Oh no!
I can't see this real well. Is that green to you? I just saw a video that was talking about how white people don't make funny phrases like that anymore.
I'm bringing him back.
They're
Let's
like,
bring him
"Man, what's
back
up with
in this podcast. Let's
that?
bring
Get a
him
grip.
back.
Get a grip.
Get a grip. Cut it out, Mister.
Yeah, we gotta bring you know, that was really our greatest offering to culture, was saying like get a grip. We gotta keep that up. My first shiny technically was Lake of Rage Gyarados, because that was the first actual like
Mm-hmm.
shiny that I think most people got when they started, or when they, you know, played that far back, because, you know, there were no shinies in Gen 1.
Right.
There was an opportunity for shinies in Gen 2, but it was so, I mean, it's 8192, slow game, slow encounter, you know, there's really not, by the time the likelihood for you to get a shiny your first time playing Gold, Silver, Crystal before you get to Lake of Rage is
it's
so
low. It's low. Unless you already have like prior knowledge to how the game works, right?
Right. So that technically was my first shiny, which
Okay.
feels like a cop out, but
No, I think because
uh,
if it introduces you to what shiny Pokemon are, I don't think it's even remotely close to a cop out. I think it's valid.
and you know, it's such an interesting shiny too. It's such an interesting shiny experience, because even though it was like introducing me to shiny, it was like flat out showing me what shiny Pokemon were, and I think this probably goes for a lot of people that experienced that when they were a kid. You know, like I still didn't know that's what it was. I just thought it, you know,
Yeah, you don't
it's
know.
just like, oh cool, it's a red Gyarados, like they just made a different colored Gyarados. I don't know why they did that, but that's neat, and it's only for this thing, you know.
Yeah.
There's no, like, they don't call it shiny, there's no,
Is there an official
indication that there's
term they
more.
ever gave it?
I mean, I think they just called it a red Gyarados in the game.
Right. But even like
but
going fast
they didn't-
forward.
Oh, like when they started using the term shiny?
Yeah, because I vaguely remember them not calling it shiny Pokemon. I feel like calling it shiny was like a community term.
I guess I don't know either. I've never really.
Not to hijack your experience, but that just got me thinking, right? Like, what did Pokemon call them? Hey, if you know in the comments, let us know, right?
You know,
like,
okay,
give us
so
some.
now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
you know, there was the initial instance of when they started doing in Neo era TCG, they did the Shining.
Oh,
Pokemon,
right.
So that was technically the first way that they labeled it that, right? So like,
yeah, well, even thinking about it,
and Shining Magikarp and stuff like that.
Did they ever call it Shiny in the TCG? I feel like they didn't.
Because
it was Gold Star.
They didn't.
There was Radiance, Shinings.
That's true. I mean, they have, like, the Pokemon Company has used the term Shiny
Right. Okay.
now, but I think in Japan they still go with like Shining as the
That's
term.
so cool.
Okay, so I'm pulling it up on the fly here to look at.
This
it 'cause I
guy's
was
pulling
very
it up.
curious.
This guy's pulling
I'm
it
pulling
out.
it up.
Audio
I'm
listeners,
pulling
he's
it out.
pulling it out.
This is from Bulbapedia.
Okay.
It says terminology of shiny Pokemon. They were originally called rare in the debug menu from Pokemon Gold and Silver. And in Stadium 2, they were called color Pokemon, which I also feel like doesn't really
hit.
Because the color Pokemon in Stadium were like,
it was a
not
whole
the
different
actual shinies, right? Like,
yeah, because it was all
totally
based
different
on
thing.
nicknames in those games, right?
Yeah. And then in the Easy Chat system in Gen 3, they were referred to as alt color.
Okay.
And then shining Pokemon from the trading card game were also introduced before the word shiny was officially used in the Pokemon games. So here you go. This is big. The
Okay,
term shiny
I'm ready.
Pokemon was first created by fans based on the sparkling sound effect in the animation at the start of an encounter.
Yo,
with
it is
one
fan
in the
made.
games. Eventually, this term fell into official usage in Gen 4, used on a promotional material promoting shiny event Pokemon. So it was.
That's
There you
so
go.
cool. Wait, yo,
That
that's a
is really
W for the fans. Damn. So
We did it.
I
did it, team.
I feel like shiny hunting as a hobby is already so grassroots anyway.
Yeah.
So knowing that like it's grassroots and our terminology got recognized is so sick.
Maybe one of the first and only instances maybe of that in Pokemon. I'd be curious to see how many instances of like the actual Pokemon company or Game Freak like latching onto something that the fan base has started just because there was no real like terminology for it like that. I would be interested to see how many times that's happened because that's pretty cool. I like that they did that, and I don't know of any other instance where that has happened.
And we
it was
learn things
ingrained,
here.
right? Like we all just called it that. We all just
Yeah.
have called it shiny Pokemon for forever. I don't know.
I
But yeah, in
don't even
Gen
think
2, it
I've
just-
ever known them to be different, if I'm honest. I've
Oh,
always
yeah.
known them as shiny Pokemon.
Yeah, I
which is-
definitely in Gen 4. I remember when like I said, when my buddy and
Oh,
I
yeah,
started to
you're
get
old.
really into. Yep, because I'm 1,000 years old. I'm the Crypt Keeper. We were calling it shiny because that was it was forums and like the
Yeah.
internet at the time was like people were using that term. So
Cerebi forums,
that's just
Nintendo
what we called
forums.
it. Maryland forums.
Oh my god, Maryland forums.
Back in the day. But before that, it was just especially at Gen 2, like I said, we had no idea. We were just like, it's red. I don't know, it's just a different color. There wasn't even an indication that there
got a
were more
sickness.
Pokemon that were a different color, just that it was the one Gyarados and that's it. Like that's the only thing we knew. It wasn't until the TCG, I think, that I realized that maybe it was a thing, but I didn't even know how to do it in the game or how to get them, or it was such a like minimal, nobody knew anything about it kind of
Yeah.
thing, which was also really cool. It was so mysterious, added a layer of
The
intrigue
allure
to
of
it.
the shrouded allure
allure.
of shiny Pokemon.
What about you? What do you remember your first shiny?
So I earlier I mentioned the Princess Diaries, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was it. I was
That's
playing
based in
Pokemon Ruby.
Truth?
That is true. I was playing Pokemon Ruby after learning about the rumors of shiny Pokemon and my friends telling me how to soft reset. Funnily enough, the name. And
You said the thing.
I was like, well, I want a shiny Trico because Trico is the GOAT. He's the sickest little dude ever.
Yeah.
And
tiny
I
little guy.
remember getting a notebook, keeping little tallies of every time I soft resetted because you don't have I didn't use a calculator. I was in 2nd grade and I got it. And I remember just screaming. I was so excited. I go to show my older brother and he goes, Yeah, that one's sick. Like literally like sick.
Cool,
like,
dude.
Get it to the nurse.
Oh, like
Not like, cause like we wouldn't, you know. Yeah, and I actually have that shiny still to this day on my OG cart of Ruby.
that's awesome. I love that.
He's my dude. But fast forward to maybe like when Black and White came out, like around release of that, I started shiny hunting again. I shiny hunted for Tepig in that game. And I got it and did my whole Black and White first playthrough with the shiny Tepig.
I love that. See, I love that stories like that.
Well,
so fun.
that's the beauty of shiny hunting too, right? Because I feel like everybody who has touched Pokemon at some degree and has put time into Pokemon has a shiny Pokemon story. And I think that's like the best part to me about shiny Pokemon. There's a lot of conversation always surrounding like what odds is best odds, full odds, half odds, method hunting, all that jazz. To me, the point of why we do this is to have the stories, right? And to share them with your friends, talk about them, and be excited about them.
100%. And that's regardless of what you're hunting in and what odds you're doing. I don't know if you've watched Adef's recent YouTube video. He's basically the YouTube math guy, or the Pokemon math guy.
Yeah, at least
and
someone's
I love
doing
stuff
it,
like
right?
that. It's
That shit goes over my head. Like, hello?
Yeah.
One plus one
okay,
equals
dude.
2. So
No, it
that
sounds
means
great.
all these berries are okay. Yeah.
I trust you. I believe you. I believe you.
I'm not
I don't know.
gonna check your math.
Yeah, I trust you, dude. Adef, the Pokemon math guy, recently did a video where he talked about the mathematics of that specific discussion being, you know, whether or not using multiple consoles it counts as method hunting. Which, to people who don't know, full odds is essentially the base odds that you can get without any kind of multiplier,
No charm.
no charm, no
Scarlet Violet outbreak.
No outbreak, anything that would change your odds to make your odds better in the game. That is a method hunt, and full odds is just base odds.
I think the easiest way to explain a method hunt, though, is to just talk about, just like real quick so they have a better idea, is that like if two Pokemon are breeding and one is Japanese, so if a Japanese Ditto and a regular Pokemon, they're breeding, your shiny odds are like cut down drastically. That would be considered a method hunt. That is called Masuda method. So that would be your most in-your-face example of method hunting.
Yeah, and I mean, an even simpler non-game way that, you know, in the ADEF video he talks about, that he uses as an example. He talks about a dartboard.
Oh, okay.
And he talks about how the bullseye on the dartboard is your target. So if the dartboard is 8,192 spots that you can hit, the bullseye is the one in the center, right? So that's your odds. So you're aiming for that bullseye. But when you're doing a method, that's full odds. When you're doing a method hunt, you are using in-game mechanics to make that bullseye bigger so that you have an easier time hitting the bullseye. Don't stop it. Don't do that. I knew the risk I was taking. I don't have any other visual aids in front of me except for my hands.
I can give you a visual aid.
I will not be looking.
So audio listeners, here's what I'm doing.
But that's such a great visual representation of how method hunt works. Is like you're increasing the bullseye space on the dartboard rather than you know, if you're hunting on multiple consoles, you're just increasing the amount of the speed at which you can throw darts at the dartboard rather than the likelihood that you're gonna hit the bullseye because the bullseye is bigger, you know. Great video, highly suggest, even if you don't really know anything about shiny Pokemon or shiny hunting.
Yeah, it's worth watching.
Great video to watch. It's a really good way to, you know, get you familiar with how things work in this hobby too, if it's something that you're interested in. All that to say, I'm playing on pricier console. Kiefer's playing on a cheaper way to play the games. We're both doing full odds. A lot of times I catch Pokemon in Pokemon Go that are like in Community Day. It's very easy to get a shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go. I still love it.
Oh, dude.
Regardless of what you're hunting or how you're hunting or what it is, as long as you are enjoying what you're doing, and having fun doing it.
Yep.
Because really, at the end of the day,
everything's got a story, baby. That's what I always say.
We're all gonna croak eventually, so you might as well be doing shit that you like doing. So
dude, there's no way I turn on my shiny Pokemon podcast just to get existential. What the fuck?
That's why in that moment I was like, is that too much? Is that too much for this?
Yeah, so Timmy, you're 9. You better start shiny hunting now because you're gonna die in like 30
Yeah, you only
years.
got so much time. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Timmy, get to work. All right, seriously.
And coming from a fossil like me, you know.
What fossil would you be? If
Dome,
I brought
Just show me that dome fossil.
this dude gives dome. Man, I mean, hey, everything we're doing, everything we're talking about, that's why this podcast exists now, and why we want it to exist is because, like, there's so many of us out there that love this shit, that love talking about that shit. There's so many awesome communities. There's so many great YouTube channels, you know, like Absol Blogs. John Stone does a lot of shiny hunting videos. Shiny
Big
Catherine.
fan of them.
There's just so much exposure to it now, and so many new people in the hobby, and so many we're growing. The community is growing. Shiny hunting is growing, and I just want to do whatever I can to be like, take this. I want to see a Trico by the end of the night. You know what I mean?
Your first hit.
Here, take a hit, kiddo.
You remember that meme for a while that was like the Yokies or whatever?
Yeah.
Like,
but instead it's just me handing somebody a
blunt.
Pokemon.
Yeah, you holding Pokemon Ruby.
Well, not this one. The RNG's broken, but that's a whole nother topic for another stream, another video.
That's really the gist of why we like this so much. You know, I think you and I have both kind of bonded over the last couple years. For anybody that doesn't know, I am an artist and a graphic designer and a content designer, I guess you call it. I've done a lot of like thumbnails and production art and stuff like that, and I've done some analytics for content creation and things like that. So Kiefer, you do a lot of content creation yourself?
Yeah, I do a lot of content creation myself. I edit mostly. You know, I'm a big edit guy, and I stream. Yeah, that's but
Stream,
and my
YouTube,
content that I do is
it
all shiny hunting. This is my passion at this point, you know?
And that's, you know, I think such a fun thing too is that like I found so much of what I love on Twitch from shiny hunting channels back in, you know, 2016 or whatever it was. You know, some of my best friends from that, Rosokin, Carly on the Moon, you know, there were a lot of people back in the day that I loved watching, and you know, Jimmy Wetzel and Supreme Arcanine and stuff like that over the years has evolved into seeing all these other people, and eventually one of the people that I watched pretty regularly was Purple Cliff, and got to know him really well, and you know, eventually he, you know, he asked me, I was working a different job, and he asked me if I wanted to come help him work on his stuff because he was doing a lot of YouTube and content creation, and that's where I met you. So
whoa, wait,
it's really like, it's so weird how it's, you know, like I met Jack through Twitch. I started really consuming a lot of Twitch because of Pokemon and because of shiny hunting. Here we are, you know.
I know, right? Making a shiny hunting podcast because we met through our mutual work environment. You know, for those that don't know, I'm also a video editor for Purple Cliff. That is how Micah and I have met and became friends over the last 2-3 years. We're already working in an environment about Pokemon, so obviously our love of Pokemon is going to be a hot topic of discussion, and that is, you know, boils down over the last 2 years of us bonding about this game, about other games, about, you know, retro technology we talked about before. It made me realize, like, hey, I have this idea. I want to do a shiny hunting podcast. I know the person for it. Let's do it. And here we are.
And it's just cool, man. You know, it's cool to think about and reflect on. Like you said, I mean, that's a lot of our discussion surrounding our work and stuff. Like, primarily what we work on for our day job is Pokemon content with Jack. The team that we work with, the other editors, are some of the best people that I've ever met, like most talented people. And Jack is just incredibly talented and
started coworkers, but
so funny and
friends for life at this point.
Yeah, and
family.
It sounds like I'm just like glazing hard, right?
But you know, a little.
The reality
but it's
of
real.
It is that like I just feel so lucky that like this is what I get to do, is hang out with some of the coolest people I've ever met and talk about Pokemon all day and like do Pokemon stuff all day. Like, that's insane. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's crazy.
As a kid, I would have like lost my mind if I knew this is what I was gonna be doing. It's such a cool thing. So
100%.
And
I love
here we
so
are
much.
Looking for Mewtwo. When did Fire Red Leaf Green come out?
2006.
2002. 2002. What? I was way off. 2004 feels like probably more right. Oh, it's on the screen.
Oh, you're right. It is.
It's literally right in front of us every single time we reset this game.
I had
it's 20 years later.
That's crazy. I remember buying my copy because I had to do. I ran a lemonade stand because my mom and dad were like, "Well, you gotta learn how to make money. You gotta learn to business." And I ran a lemonade stand, and I ended up making enough money to go to Best Buy to buy my copy of Pokemon Fire Red.
I love that. That's great.
Not near me, but I still have it to this day. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we talked about yesterday, I think, too. I think maybe it was yesterday. You and I were kind of talking about our first experiences with Pokemon and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
When we started, or our first experiences with games, really, because Pokemon became such a heavy part of our game history, like our personal game history and the games that we play. I think you would ask me, was Pokemon the first game that I ever played?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you said it was for you, right?
Yeah, I think the very first game I ever really played was a hand-me-down of Pokemon Yellow, and then the first game I ever bought was Crystal.
That's huge. Those are two great games to start as your first games. Are you kidding?
Yeah, they shaped my taste of video games forever. You
know. Yeah. So my brother and I have always been really close. When we were younger, we scrapped a lot. But he's 6 years older than I am, so I was always kind of the shitty, goofy younger brother that was bugging him and trying to see what he was up to. But he introduced me to games because he was playing them, way before I was. And everything that I got kind of was hand-me-downs of what he was playing when I was younger, right? And the Game Boy was kind of the first. So I did play games before Pokemon, but the Game Boy was really the first instance of this was mine. This was my thing that I got to play, and it was my game. It wasn't a shared game.
Yep.
And Pokemon was that first experience of this is just mine. I think before that there was Super Mario Land, great Game Boy game, incredible Game Boy game. Super Mario Land 2, crazy game. The Beehive World, the Toy World. Super Mario Land 2 goes absolutely dummy. But
so,
Pokemon
kids,
was the first
this is what it looks like when Grandpa gets senile, okay? No, I'm kidding.
All my old heads know what's up with Super Mario Land 2. Where my old heads at? But Pokemon was the first actual this is mine. It was, I was still real young at I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing a lot of goofing around in the game. And my friends in school and stuff were we just didn't really know what we were doing. It's just kind of little babies bopping around with their giant Game Boys trying to figure out how to trade Pokemon to each other.
Dude, but that's it's such a simple time, right? It's so important to the journey and your experience with games and shit. And there's almost points in my life where I wish that I still had that same goo goo gaga mindset I had as a child when I was just so excited about the next Pokemon game or the next Kingdom Hearts game or the next it's just
oh yeah, for sure.
It almost comes to a point where growing up you a certain point where you kind of become a little jaded towards video games. Which is for sure. Which I've always I've caught myself doing so or getting jaded. And I've always kind of tried to stop myself because it's almost, I don't want to call it weird because it's valid. It's a valid feeling, a valid emotion, but it sucks to feel that way about gaming or how games have evolved and where we are now versus where we were there. And games used to be so much better, or they don't make games like this anymore, which there's truths to, but ultimately
and that's a big conversation point in the Pokemon community too. The Pokemon fan base is they don't make the games like they used to anymore and stuff like that. But that's I think what is so fun about the shiny hunting community in specific is that yes, there are instances of the old games are the better games, stuff like that, but even then there's still an enjoyment factor that everybody's having with the game. We'll still see people who are typically hunting in full odds or doing specific kinds of old game hunts, and they're still having fun in Legends Arceus. They're still having fun in Scarlet Violet. There's still an enjoyment factor to be had with newer games in it.
Those games could run like shit.
That... oh, they absolute
But
dog
if
shit.
I still see a sparkle, I'm neuron activated. I'm like that monkey.
100%. All they got to do is be there's a new outbreak in the 3 areas, and these are the Pokemon that are going to be there, and I'm there. I'll see you there. I'm
on the front lines.
I'm
already throwing shit.
Me and the boys, Kitakami getting, what is it right now? It's all the version exclusives, right?
you say
currently-
virgin or version?
Version.
I'm like,
The
they
virgin
got
exclusive.
Hi, hello.
The exclusive versions in each version.
Been looking for that looking forward to that update. What the hell?
It's fun to have that level of appreciation, and because it is easy to be jaded. There was a lot of that, especially with Pokemon recently, where Scarlet and Violet did not perform the way that,
Yeah.
rightly so, we all feel like it should have for such a massive franchise. And you know,
Oh yeah. I mean,
how long they've been doing it, it should have run a lot better than it does. But
yeah, it's valid.
it's okay to acknowledge that stuff and still be able to enjoy it. You know, if you don't-
100%.
you can't enjoy it that way, then that's fine. That's on you. But
At the end of the day, man, you know what I've come to realize?
what's that?
I just really like Pokemon.
Yeah, me too.
And
It's
it's
pretty
kind of
cool.
weird to say that because I feel like it's taken me a long time to realize it. Like, okay, a question: have you ever, because you're old, have you ever like forgot how much you love stuff?
Yeah.
Like, has there ever been
course.
like a moment where you're like, oh my god, I forgot how much I loved this video or how much I loved this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I've been making Pokemon content for a while now, both for Jack and for myself. And right now, I have never felt more like, man, I love Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I feel like a part of me had forgotten just how much I loved it. Like, I remember buying the Pop-Tarts, the cereal, watching all of the animated movies. I remember being so obsessed, especially when Hoenn was out. Hoenn, I watched the anime, I bought all of the toys, I have the Pokédex, you know? I had a realization maybe like 4 nights ago, funnily enough, after watching, I randomly watched the Destiny Deoxys movie, just randomly.
Oh, I know. Just randomly.
And that movie...
Definitely not on.
No, I didn't do it
website
on
live or
stream.
anything.
I didn't do it live.
No,
What?
That wasn't live.
No
You didn't-
narcs. After it, I kind of just sat there and thought, like, damn, I forgot how much of Pokemon I just loved.
Definitely.
And moral of what I'm trying to say is, like, don't lose sight of the things you love. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they
and
make the everyday worth it.
And you know, I think for me, there's been a personally you asked if I've ever felt that, like, you know, forgot that I enjoyed something as much as I did, and I definitely feel that, and I feel that that has happened a few times over the course of my love for Pokemon. Is that, you know, I either get distracted by things, or there are big changes in my life or something like that, you know, I do get more focused on other things and kind of forget how much enjoyment I get out of Pokemon. And it takes a while for me to kind of get back into that, like, swing of enjoying the thing that I like as much as I like it. It's okay to take breaks from it and recognize that, like,
Oh yeah.
you just don't have the time or the capacity for it at
Mhm.
the moment. You know, as long as you're not getting doing away with it or stopping enjoying it because of things that are, like, outside of your control. Things have changed for you and you don't like it anymore. You don't have time for it. That's totally fine. But don't lose sight of what made it important to you in the first place. And if
True.
you want to come back to it, come back to it.
Damn. Wait, we even had a lesson at the end of this, like, pod? That's crazy.
The moral of the story?
Moral of the story, audio listeners, Micah's pulling out his dick.
I knew I was. Look it. I promise.
He said, look it.
I don't know why. I don't know why my first instinct was to say look it and then
And then-
lift my hands up like you were gonna see or something. I don't know. Look. It's away. I promise.
Oh man. Hey, how many encounters in are you?
I am at 90. This is 93.
Oh no, audio listeners, you're never gonna guess this, but I'm almost doubling Micah's encounters.
You're almost at 200. What
I'm
are you
at 174.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna go to 100. I think is gonna
Okay.
be my, like,
That's where okay.
hard cut on this.
Sounds
right?
good to me. Let's rip.
Okay.
Audio listeners, Micah's a freak.
I'm on my freak shit.
Mew.
Mew. Don't mew.
I was reading the text box.
Is that what Mewtwo's dialogue is?
Yo, low key, I feel like
Cry dialogue? Is it just mew?
Yeah, look. You're look. Dude, I feel like if something as giant as Mewtwo meowed at me, I would fight or fight, you know?
Yeah,
I'd probably
for
start
sure.
pooping a little too.
I would shit and piss and cry,
Me too.
and I would meow back.
Oh.
But it would be like a submissive mew. That's not what I meant. I didn't mean.
Why'd
I didn't
you
mean
say
in the,
that?
Like, I didn't mean in the like. I meant
What
like
the
because I'm
fuck?
scared. You know what I mean?
No.
Not
No.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I'm on 100. This is reset 100.
That's it. Big
This is
ones
it.
right here. Last reset of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
Me too.
Wait, let me get there. Let me get there. Let me get there. Don't
Sure.
hit A. Don't hit A.
Okay.
Don't hit A. Don't hit A. Okay. Okay. Ready? 3,
Let's do a countdown.
2,
Okay.
1. Damn.
That would have been insane. That would have been insane.
It'll happen one day. Keep that in mind.
It will. It will. One of these days, if we just keep doing this, eventually that'll happen.
Well, hey, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check us out on all the different podcast websites that I don't remember off the top of my head that will be in the description below.
And whichever ones we wind up getting it on. I don't
yeah,
know.
literally. Who knows, bro?
Yeah, it might just be on YouTube. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know.
and we might keep it that way. But also, if you guys liked either of us, our socials will be in the descriptions below, so make sure to check us out there, as well as a Twitter and Blue Sky dedicated to the Soft Reset podcast. And for lastly, the most important part, if you guys find any shinies during watching any of our podcast episodes, please use the hashtag TSRP on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, write it down in a book, text it to your grandma. She'll probably know exactly what you're talking about, or she might think you're talking about Sims roleplay. Who knows?
Write a letter and send it to your
This address right
city
here, and it's just going to be
councilman.
a random IP address.
Send it to your city officials. You don't even need to say it. Just put hashtag. Just write hashtag TSRP and then include a Polaroid of the shiny that you caught.
Yes,
or what you're hunting or
specifically a
whatever.
Polaroid. If it's not a Polaroid,
Mail
you can't
it.
accept it.
Mail it to your government official.
Thank you so much for watching, gamers. We'll see you next time. Make sure to keep on resetting. Unless you get a shiny, then catch it, dumbass.
Yeah. Then catch it. Then trade it and then reset it. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's
Keep
it.
hunting for another one. I don't know.
I don't know. Brown.
Thanks for watching.
Blue Sky, brown pole.
I have a question about Pokemon. How
Sure.
do you heal a poisoned Pokemon in Pokemon Green?
With an antidote, or go to the Pokemon Center.
What does potion do? Potion
That
versus
just-
antidote.
That just heals.
Okay, so antidote, heals them of ailments.
Antidote only heals poison. Paralyze heal heals paralyzation. Awakening
Oh.
heals them from sleeping. A burn heal heals them from burning. An ice heal heals them from being frozen. And then if you get them a ibuprofen, that heals them of headache.
Ibuprofen?
Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah,
My
you're welcome.
Pokemon, thank you. They're better now. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was real, by the way. That was her actually asking me.